All right. I'm here with Pauline over at Sugar Made Me Lean. I'm going to link her. She's on Instagram too. So I'm going to link her YouTube and her Instagram down below. Go check her out. She's got some awesome stuff, especially like with cycling and you know, dietary stuff. So, welcome.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah.
I'm happy to talk with you today.
Yeah. So I know you lost some weight and you kind of moved into a vegan lifestyle, I guess we'll call it, way back in the day. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about that, I guess?
Yes, it was a long time ago. I lost 8 kilos. I was not checking my weight at all. I mean, I was checking it every 6 months. You know, it's nothing like what I see now on Instagram. These people who weigh themselves several times a day. That's crazy. So anyway, back in the days, I just went to fruit diet. First, I tried, legumes and stuff, many different vegan foods, but I went almost straight to the fruit diet, and it was working so well. I had lots of energy. There's nothing bad with the bowel, and so for me it was all right. And after 6 months, boom, 8 kilos were gone.
Wow!
And I was doing light exercising, nothing hard. I was just cruising on the bike, running a little, walking in town. That's it.
Wow! So you weren't really cycling at that point?
No, I had a city bike and I wasn't going very far. I was not cycling.
All right. So what is your thoughts on, I guess this leads us into overtraining, seeing how you lost the weight with, very little exercise. What are your thoughts on overtraining? Because I know a lot of people seem to overtrain and then their body gets really stressed and then they can't get the weight off. I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I've done a bit of overtraining myself. Sorry. And I've done some research, and as I said in that video that you're mentioning, I had my highest weight. So I gained all the weight back when I was overtraining.
Wow.
I was starting the cycling at that time. And I mean, it was okay. I was not overweight, but I gained the 8 kilos back on that time because I was so hungry exercising that much, and I overshoot. I ate way too much. There was fruit, starches, vegetables, but also vegan junk food. I was so hungry.
Yeah, I get it because there's been years where I've ridden thousands and thousands and thousands of miles, and I basically just add sugar to my water because I don't know how to make up for the calories. But I did lose weight. Do you think that you gained the weight because of the junk food, or do you just think it was overtaxing on the body?
Yeah, it was the junk food and of course excess calories, including junk food, and then the weight went up easily. And I think about all these people that overtrain and overeat. They spend so much time and money and get the opposite results that they want. It's sad, but I did that too.
Yeah. I've been there myself. So, what are your thoughts on calories in, calories out? Then, like, what do you think? There's a base minimum of what you should be eating, or do you think your body actually knows what it wants, and you shouldn't pay attention to it?
Well, it's a complicated answer.
Yeah,
I would say it works more or less in the normal paradigm. But once you have a fast metabolism and remove this excess fat, then it doesn't work the same way. The body wastes a lot of extra sugars when there's no fat in the way, and if you can get away with lots of extra carbs and be fine, not gain weight. And in the fatty paradigm, when you overeat, these calories are going to be stored immediately. Yeah.
Wow. So you think a fat person really needs to watch what they're eating, but a more slender person doesn't need to watch what they're eating?
Also, yes. I've heard from a few doctors like Garth Davis. He said that overweight people or obese people have more fat in the adipose tissues, and the cells are so full of fat that they leak fat in the bloodstream all the time, which means the insulin levels are higher all the time, and then any excess can be stored. So people who are overweight should watch with what they eat. They have less margin of error than slim people.
Now, what if they're hungry all the time though? That's the problem that I myself included, like run into quite a bit.
Yeah, well, we need to understand how satiation works. The body mostly wants carbs and fiber and volume in general to feel full. And if you know how it works, and you can give your body, like for example, potatoes, and it satiates the body so much. There's even a satiety index. I don't know if you know this one, but the potato has the highest score. It's nice.
Yeah, but the weird part for me and a couple other people I know is that potatoes just don't do that for us. But yeah, I do know that the satiety thing is very, very high on the potatoes. Now, you made another video about, there's a starch solution, raw till 4, fruitarian, raw all together. And you made a video about you got to stick to one, otherwise you're going to run into problems. Maybe recap that video a little bit.
Yes. So I said you have to choose one template. You cannot mix them because, fruit and starch in the same meal is going to, blow in gases. It doesn't work well because of fermentation. And I don't know, if you do some high carb, low fat diet with some junk food, it's not going to work either. So you have to be strict, especially when you want to lose weight. And all the plans work. If you do them to the letter, if you're strict, then it's going to work. But I know it's hard for people to be disciplined when they change, when trying to get new habits. I know it's hard.
It is. So what do you think would be, in your mind anyway, what do you think would be better? Like raw till 4, starch solution, fruitarian? There's so many, which one do you think in your mind would be better?
Well, I don't care what people choose, but I think people should try mostly starches because they are cheaper and, it's more easily socially. It's more easy socially, yes.
I'm actually surprised by that.
Yeah. I mean, free roll, it's the best for the humans, but it's hard to find quality fruit. It's expensive usually.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give you that. It is very expensive because, when I was 405 pounds, I was actually on basically a fruitarian diet, and it was like $300 a week. I mean,
it can be that expensive.
It's very, and that was over 10 years ago. So I can only imagine what it would probably be like $450 a week now at this point, because I was going through a lot of dates, and I don't know if you've ever heard of them, because I don't know if they ship internationally, but there's a place called the Date People out in California, and they actually ship the dates. They pick them off the tree. They keep them plump. They don't dehydrate them, and they ship them right to you. It's like the best thing you've ever had in your life, but it's like $15, $16 a pound. So, you go through a lot of this stuff. I mean, they're actually pretty inexpensive for what they are, because they actually ship them wet. He figured out a method to ship them wet, and they're just phenomenal. But I was juicing a lot too. What are your thoughts on juicing? I actually saw a video where you're juicing. We actually have the exact same juicer.
Yeah, it's a very common juicer. That's true.
Yeah.
I like to have some juices, but I wouldn't consider juices like meals. Or maybe if you do a huge juice, like 2 liters, okay, maybe it's a meal. It depends what you do. But there are these people that do juice fasting, and once they go in that rabbit hole, they never come back, and lots of them go crazy. Yeah? Then they do water fasting and then dry fasting, and then they can die.
I know. Yeah. There's a lot of people who have died off that dry fasting. I don't understand it. We're made of 75% water or something like that. And then you do a dry fast. It's just, but that's the one thing that I do notice on the starches. You are a lot more thirsty than you are if you're eating a lot of fruit. So, like as far as like, if you're going to be at a cycling season, it's March, so we're coming into cycling season in most of the world. I would think that, fruit would be better because it's more hydrating. You don't have to have as many bottles on the bike with you. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Do you try to do more fruit during cycling season if you have one?
No, it doesn't change anything for me. I like fruit in the winter or in summer. But yeah, it's true. It's more hydrating. And I wouldn't eat a breakfast of starches. It's too drying for me. I can't.
Yeah.
When I cycle a lot, I want juicy stuff. As soon as I come back home after a ride or a hike or something, I want something juicy. I don't want, potatoes or bread or something dry.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing better than coming back after like a long ride and having a watermelon. I mean, it's just like the best thing on the planet. But I mean, you know, watermelon season doesn't really start till about May. So got a little ways to go. I wanted to actually talk to you about digestion, but I guess you kind of covered that. I mean, digestion on this, like on mostly starch for me actually slows down quite a bit, but I don't know if that's average. I mean, I don't know. Do you come across people who have more of a hard time with starch digestion than fruit? Or I don't know if you deal with a lot of people with that.
Yeah, people who don't drink enough water, they struggle with digestion. And as soon as they drink enough water, then suddenly rice is not a problem anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, they complain of the opposite thing. They complain that it's too fast. And then I say, I don't know, it's some bread, maybe it's going to slow it down. Or I don't eat raw vegetables that are hard, like raw carrots or raw cabbage. I say, don't even eat that. Just cook these vegetables. It's too hard.
Yeah. Or juice them. Have you ever juiced cabbage?
Yes.
I went raw for Lent, and I'm Irish, and I'm like, what do I do on St. Patrick's? I thought about as a joke juicing potatoes, cabbage, and carrots and see what that tastes like. That might be a monster to drink. I don't know.
No, cabbages are horrible when you juice them, but you can juice potatoes, and it's a liquid that's not bad. Huh?
No.
Raw is law, bro. Cooked food is poison.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, man? Yeah, I've seen some of your videos too.
At some point for YouTube, I even ate a whole raw potato.
Did you?
Yeah, I got so much hatred that I removed the video. It was not that good. It was bland.
Somebody told me it tastes like apple, but I don't think I've ever had it. No, it doesn't taste like apple.
It's impossible. Like, a potato is not sweet. Look, once I even tried to add sugar in a potato soup just to check the taste. It was unedible.
Really?
I don't know why.
Huh. Now, what about sweet potatoes? Have you ever tried those raw?
No, actually not.
Because I've juiced those and they actually taste pretty much like carrot, which I was, if it's the orange one, I was surprised at how much it tasted like carrot. So I wonder if those raw would be any better. But I mean, it's something that I wouldn't even think to do other than juicing.
I think it's a waste of sweet potato.
Yeah. It probably is. All right. So another thing that I wanted to talk to you about is your insane 4 watts per kilogram on the bike. What did it take you to get to that level? I mean, that had to have been a significant amount of training.
Well, that was 1.5 years ago. It was in the middle of summer. I was training the best. I was not doing any intervals, but I was taking segments on Strava, once a week or maybe twice a week max. And also I was leaner. I was at 56 kilos, and my height is a 1.69 meter. If you want to calculate it.
Yeah.
I was close to 55 kilos, and I was taking a long segment, 42 minutes, and I didn't get the QM, but the wattage was unreal.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And what I was doing at that time, I was just having a cordial with water, and just 100 grams of sugar probably.
Yeah.
I drank that, and then I went straight to warm up and take the segment. Yeah.
Yeah, I do notice that if you eat before you ride, that's a terrible recipe. That's not good. I mean, maybe a couple dates or something like that, but other than that, even on the long rides, I try not to do too much. I'll bring like back when I was in Pennsylvania, I lived in I would ride in rural areas, so I would actually bring a tub of sugar with me, and I would stop at places just to get water, and I would dump the sugar in and just ride that, because I found, and this is, people think I'm joking about this, but I'm not. I found that if I brought dates with me, the bees would follow me. Like I would have bees trying to get into because I've got one of those huge bags on the back that kind of attaches to the saddle and that kind of sticks out. And they would start trying to get in there. I actually have a picture of, I can't find it, but I had a bee riding on my shoulder.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah. So I had to start doing the sugar because I couldn't bring the dates with me.
Yeah, if it's dried, I cannot smell it.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you do a lot of riding still, or you do more hiking?
Yeah, I do more hiking at the moment, but I prefer to ride when it's warm, and at the moment it's cold here. That's why. Yeah. And I found that eating even some fruit before I ride, it depends. If I go hard, then no fruits, even a small banana wouldn't make it. I would be nauseous. It's impossible to ride hard. But if I go for an endurance ride, then I can eat anything. It's not a problem.
So what do you think of the, I'm dropping the name of it. I can't think of the name. What's the not cadence, power meter? What do you think of power meters? Do you think it's necessary? Because Durian riders always told me I got to get a power meter. I'm like, I ride in the city. I'm constantly in stop signs, stop lights, people running in front of you, cars running in front of you. I mean, I in my mind, I don't see the point of it. But I mean, what are your thoughts on somebody who lives in the city and basically rides in the city? Now, occasionally, I've got a couple of bikes. I guess I could put one on one because occasionally I do ride out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, I can go, I don't know, maybe 45 miles west of me, and during an entire, maybe like if I ride 30 miles, I might see 2 cars the entire time. So I might have use for a power meter there. But I mean, what are your thoughts on the whole thing?
Well, if you only ride in town, I don't see how a power meter is going to help you because you cannot ride as fast as you want.
Yeah.
But if you go for segments or out of town, then you can finally see what you're doing. Usually people, when they climb, they push harder, but when they are on flat roads, it's not the same. They're not pushed to push. Yeah.
So you noticed an increase in your output, I guess, when you put one on, like over an extended period of time, I guess, or was it pretty quick?
The power meter is useful to pace yourself on climbs. Yes, absolutely. Because if you ride too hard at the beginning, like most people do, then you don't have any power after some time, and you end up having a bad time because you're too tired.
Yeah, that's not happened to me many times, but I did a 150-mile ride one time, and at like the last, like 25 miles, I hit this this vertical hill, and I flew up it. And everybody else walked their bikes. And I'm like, I probably should have almost, because when I got to the top of the hill, I had realized that I bonked and I had another 25 miles to go. And that was terrible. They had, the service cars that'll come take your bike and bring you back to the end of the race. But I'm like, I'll make it. But I was floored at the top of the hill. So yeah, I guess if you had a power meter, I probably could have looked at and seen that I was probably should have slowed down a bit.
You see that you hit 500 watts, it's too much. You should stop.
Yeah.
But what's the gradient?
It was like 25, 26%. It was pretty gnarly. Yeah. I mean, because this is actually Ohio. Everybody thinks is a flatlands, but like from like midway over, it's really hilly. And this was there's some hills that during the winter your car barely can even get up, and that was one of the hills I was on. And I floored it. I'm like, why am I doing this? I had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning for this race. I was tired. I couldn't sleep the night before. And then, and then I fly up the hill. I'm like, man, that was just a bad idea. But yeah, I could definitely see, because I would have paced myself more probably getting to that point. For sure.
So as I say, if you want to be faster, do a proper TT every week and you'll be in shape. Huh? And during the rest of the week, go easy or medium. That's it.
How many minutes or hours a day do you think?
Oh, this is not what counts.
No.
You have to do your TT properly, and the rest is secondary, seriously.
Really?
Yeah.
How long is the TT?
From 20 to 40 minutes.
Okay. Is that on Zwift, I guess? Or do you just do your own?
No, I go on my own. And by the way, my power meter has broken a few weeks ago, and I don't think I'm going to buy a new one because I'm used to the feeling of pacing myself now. But for a beginner, it can be very useful. But I know it's an investment also. So use it.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, actually, my chiropractor back in PA, he bought one, and he said he took it off his bike. He said he was never going to do it again. He said he never ridden so hard in his life. He owns like 30 bikes. He's like a huge cyclist, but he said that he rode too hard because he was always trying to beat the numbers, and he was so exhausted by the time he was done. So I guess it's give or take. You can use it as a tool, or you can be maybe too anal with it. I don't know. All right. So in closing, I guess, what are your thoughts on all of what we talked about? Like, if somebody was overweight, where do you think that they should start? And do you think hiking or biking would be more beneficial for them?
Cycling.
Cycling.
Anything with impact, like running or hiking. If I think it's too hard on the joints, well, walking in town is fine because it's flat, it's cool. But yeah, cycling is the best. Yeah.
And have you ever done a rebounder, the mini trampolines? Do you ever use those?
Oh, I bought one a long time ago when during my fruitarian time, and it broke after like 14 days. It was a bad quality one.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about fruitarians and the rebounders. I actually have one. It's right behind me, but yeah, it's I don't know what it is. As soon as you go fruitarian, you got to get a rebounder. It's kind of crazy. All right.
Really funny.
I guess that's it. Unless, is there anything that you wanted to add?
Yeah, if you go vegan, try to stay vegan for the animals and find the foods that you like. And you don't have to follow anyone exactly, but you need to find what works for you. And something close to high carb, low fat, 10% fat is fine. You don't have to go for 4% fat or something very low. You don't have to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you really got to think about the animals too. I mean, honestly, I didn't get into it for the animals. I really got into it because I was like 405 pounds. But now at this point, it's more for the animals. But on the other hand, that when you go to that extreme, then you just stop caring sometimes what you eat, and then the weight can go on. So you really got to kind of have a balance of both, I think, anyway.
Yeah, and ditch the scales.
Yeah.
Anyway, your pants are going to tell you if you got fatter or skinnier. You don't need to check your weight all the time.
Yeah.
It fucks up your head. It's like the people that look at the power meter all the time and then don't even enjoy the ride or.
Yeah. You got to enjoy the process, no matter what you're doing. Yeah. I mean, I hear what you're saying with the power meter. That's why I was also leery to get it, because I'm one of those like, I did 300 watts yesterday. I probably can do 400 today. And then it just, you forget that you're even riding at that point. I guess if it's indoors, who cares? But if you're out there in, like this awesome landscape, just enjoy it. All right. All right. I'm going to link Pauline's stuff down below. It's going to be in the comments section. Go check her out. And this was a great interview. So thanks for coming on.
Yeah. Thank you for the interview. It's cool.